What's up, everybody? It's Chris and Kate with Pro Photo and Geared Up. This is our weekly live broadcast where we talk about gear, talk about lighting techniques, we do breakdowns, we have fun, take your questions, and talk about cool photography stuff. Awesome. So we're back. Sorry about that. Apparently, the whole system decided to pretend like it wasn't very happy. So
our timing is just really good.
The timing of it was fantastic. So, but we're back. We'll top and tail it. But just for the people who are coming back now with this thing reviving itself, we are talking about group photography. So we're talking about, we're going to be photographing my brother-in-law and his family, talking about some techniques for shooting a small group, but the ideas will translate to a larger group. And if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to drop your question into the chat, and we can discuss all of that stuff. That being said, Kate's going to go ahead and pull up, although, you know, it got here, give me 3 seconds. It got, since it restarted everything, it kicked all of our stuff out. So let's get you guys video going. So we are right here. Hold on 1 second. This is compelling television.
Good stuff.
So I just want to make sure that we have the right drive up. There we go. Perfect. Here we go. Here we go. And
how fast can we move on the spot?
What's up, everybody? It's Chris from Pro Photo, and today we are outside, and we're going to be taking some family photos. I have my brother, his beautiful family with us, and we're going to be talking about some lighting techniques and things that you can do and things you need to be paying attention to when it comes to lighting groups of people. With that being said, we're just going to go ahead and start jumping into it and making this thing happen. Lighting wise today, just so you know what we're working with, let's talk camera first because everybody always wants to know about my camera. GFX 100S 45mm lens on there so we can get more of the background. We're using a B10X Plus. I always bring the Plus with me outside just in case I need a little bit of extra light. I've got that with me today. And we have the OCF 3-foot Octa. It's really, really lightweight softbox. Easy to carry around with you. Beautiful soft light, especially outside. We have, it's a little bit of an overcast day. But we'll play with some shutter speeds to bring the ambient up and down and whatnot and just kind of see what we look like. But we're going to be mostly talking about light placement and how the light placement is going to affect how much you illuminate your subject. So with that being said, I'm going to bring in my brother and his family. Come on in, y'all. These are the Fanes. I'm a Fane. We're the Fanes. We're Faning it up. So we have a mark on the ground right here. So we're going to talk about this from the perspective of having one light. We have a second light. We might bring that in. We might play with it. But let's talk about it from the perspective of one light, just because a lot of times that's all people have. So when it comes to light placement, and what a lot of people will do is they'll take the light, you know, you kind of follow the rules of a lot of soft boxes. So what you'll do is you bring in your light and you want your softbox to be as close to your subject as possible, because the larger the light source is to your subject, the softer that light is. But the problem that starts to happen, and the light will be in the shot when I take this to show you here in a second. So you'll have to just ignore that part. But I do want to show you what happens. But just visual, so you can hear what I'm saying and talking about visually. So what happens is, you also have to worry about something called inverse square law. So essentially it just means the closer the light is to the subject, the faster it falls off on the other side. So what this means is the light here next to my sister-in-law, Jen, what that's going to happen is she's going to be lit fantastically. But as it starts to fall off here towards my niece here on the other side, I'm going to keep names away when it comes to the nieces. But when it hits my niece over here on the other side, what's going to happen is this light's going to start getting darker the closer this light is to the first subject. So we are going to have to play with distance. Size of the softbox is going to help with the softness there. That's why I kind of went with a 3-footer. But let's just take a shot so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's get down here. Camera settings wise, just so everybody knows, I'm using, here, let me turn to the side so you're not looking at my back. And I can turn my camera screen out so I can look at that. So camera settings wise, I'm at 125th of a second, f2.8, and ISO 400. Again, because just everybody likes to know that stuff. And I'm going to take a TTL shot real fast. So 3, 2, 1. Oh, I missed focus. Let me do this again. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. And so what you'll see in that shot, and it's not too bad on the exposure, it's something that you can fix in post, but maybe you don't want to have to fix your stuff in post. It's better to get it right in the shot. And two, what this is going to do is, I mean, you know, with this, I wanted to have the trees in the background, and you can see it in the image. And so I'm gonna have to do a lot of photoshopping or take a card shot, and I don't necessarily want to do that. I like to have my light out of the scene. So, but again, I can easily fix the light on my niece's face just with an exposure increase a little bit inside Photoshop, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather do it inside the camera. So we can fix that by just simply backing the light up a little bit. Hey, Kate, would you mind, no, just look in the camera and kind of help me make sure I'm navigating the stand out of the... We're good there? Okay, cool. So what this is going to do now that we have the light pulled back, it's going to fall off slower towards the side, and we're going to get a nice illumination across the entire family, and that's what we want. And so this is a good way of doing this with one light setup. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. And again, it's not bad. It's falling off a little bit too much, more than I would actually like it to. So what we're going to do is we're going to back it up just a little bit more and see if we can get that to illuminate a little bit more. I might even swing the light around a little bit too, just to get a little more evenness across the whole scene. But we're going to back it up a hair, and we're going to swing it around just a little bit. And this should give us some more even illumination on the family. So here we go. 3. Let's get powered up here. 3, 2, 1. And there we go. We have a nice even illumination across everybody. Here, let me hit play so I can talk about this live. Oh, there we go. So we have a nice even illumination across the group, and that's with one light. I chose to come at the lighting the subjects from the side just because I wanted some more of that directionality of the light. Just so you understand lighting position-wise, it's placed over here to this side of them because if you look at their faces, the majority of the light from the scene is coming from the same direction as the light. What this allows me to do is make it feel a little more natural. It does have more of a flash look to it because I have the contrast increased, and that's just because I have the ambient light pulled down a little bit. One other thing that you could easily do is if you wanted more of a flat light, something a little more even, you could bring that light around to the front. I just have to make sure it stays out of the way of my lens. Let's see what we got here. So the light stands in there. So let's just go from the front. Let's see what it looks like with a nice flat light. So here we go. Let's flip over to TTL mode and see if this thing gives us a good exposure. If not, we can adjust from there. Here y'all go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And it's a nice shot. It's more of a flat light. It doesn't have quite as much dimension as I personally would like, but again, if that's something that you're looking for, if you're looking for more even illumination side to side, you can easily do that by coming from the front. Because of the settings and the kind of the overcast day and stuff like that, I'm only really at like 5.2 on my light output, so I have a ton of wiggle room to work with. If the group was larger, a setup like this would be really, really nice because it's going to be able to flood the group a little bit more. Because I have a small group that I'm working with, I have a little bit more of the option of coming from the side like I was to give that light a little bit more shape, which I personally like. Again, it has this beautiful wash right off to the side. But that being said, let's talk real fast about larger groups. So what happens a lot of times in larger groups is people go about doing the exact same things that we were talking about earlier. They try to bring the light into the side and illuminate their subjects, and what happens is a large group, that light's going to fall off pretty fast to the side. So again, moving the light more towards the center and backing it up is going to be a better option for, again, shooting larger groups. The one thing that I would say that you might find yourself running into, especially if you're only using one light, is you might, depending on if you're doing this outside or you're battling a scene or you're having to close down your lens a little bit more, you may be fighting with your power output a little bit. That being said, you could take the softbox off and shoot with a harder direct light and just bring that ambient light up so you don't have so much contrast between your ambient and your actual flash output, and that won't feel so flashy while still giving a nice kind of natural look even with the hard light. And we've talked about that in a previous live with Kate, how you can take hard light and make that look natural as well. You can do the same thing with a group, and that's where setting that light up more towards the center of your camera, right next to your camera, so it's just out of the shot, but kind of straight on, is going to help out a whole bunch. Does it sound like I hit everything?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a really, really simple thing to actually do. A lot of people just don't know, and I know whenever I first kind of got kicked off in photography and shooting groups, when we shot a couple of weddings, I would always try to keep the light as close as I could to my subjects, because in my brain I want that light to be super soft all the way, or like the softest it could be, without really knowing about that inverse square law. And so I was always having to kind of go into Lightroom and do like gradient exposures and stuff like that to bring up the other side. Whereas if you just know to back that light up more, and you're going to get more consistent light across all of your subjects, it's going to save you a whole lot of trouble in photographing groups. So again, inverse square law is your best friend. With that being said, let's go back to the studio and we can talk about it. Peace out, everybody.
There we are. Hey.
What's up, everybody? So one of the things I was thinking of while that video was rolling, another benefit whenever you're shooting larger groups, especially if you have to take the modifier off and go with a more hard light to either, one, have enough power to cover everyone, or two, maybe you're trying to preserve as much battery as possible, so you're trying to keep the power a little bit lower. One of the other benefits of bringing that light around and putting it right next to your camera, so you're doing more of that flat light.
Show the image 1?
It would be image 4. Yeah.
Flat light?
Yeah. Hey, the mommy light went to sleep on the B10. I was like, what just happened? So the flat light is beneficial here, and it would be beneficial for larger groups because you have more shadow mitigation. So it can happen whenever you're shooting. You can take it down now. So it can happen when you're shooting from, the light from a certain angle, depending on how people have their faces turned. And granted, as you're photographing all this stuff, you can kind of direct all your subjects to do certain things. But when you're having to use a hard light, the biggest thing that people don't like about hard light is that it emphasizes shadows. It makes them more pronounced, whereas your soft light's going to feather out that edge a lot more. So the flat light, so bringing it around to the front, is going to mitigate a lot of that stuff. So if you have a large group and one light, and you really need to make sure you have good even coverage, backing it up and going straight on from like your camera position is, again, going to mitigate a lot of those shadows.
Did you want to pop any of them up again?
I don't think so. I mean, you know what? Throw up number. I don't know that they blow up big enough to really see what I'm talking about, because they're pretty large on the actual image themselves. You know what? Hang on 1 second, because we could probably just do this, because we're here.
Yeah, we're at the
because we're at the source. So let me see if I can.
If you have any questions,
Kinda
go ahead
going-
and pop them in. We're here. We're
So
live.
here. So let's go screen share.
Yep.
And
There we go.
Perfect. So, and actually, let's make this one larger so you can see. So, what happens here with a light coming from the side is you can see that we obviously have kind of that Rembrandt style light. We have these triangles over here on the cheeks, light coming from a certain direction. This is my brother, and he is smiling, believe it or not. Big shout to Marine Corps. My brother's a veteran. But you can see that you have this directionality with the light coming from here, so you're getting these shadows over the side. If that light was a harder light, it's more likely that you're going to get, let me bring this back up. It's more likely that you're going to get some unwanted shadows on your, let me see if I can just hide this for a second. Perfect. It's more likely that you're going to get much harsher unwanted shadows on that opposite side of the face. So again, for larger groups where you're having to put the light, you have one light, you don't have something that you can even it out with on the other side, dead center, back it up as much as you can, and that's going to give you a nice even illumination. So, do you have any chats? I'm
Yeah, let me
not
check.
sure if the chat's even rock and roll, but
Yeah.
it's a really easy technique to do. I mean, it doesn't really require a lot, but again, in the early days of us shooting stuff, I was just always under the assumption that the softbox needs to be right here all the time. And it doesn't. That's the reason you buy bigger softboxes, so you can back them up further and maintain that softness. So by simply backing the light up, we're able to use, again, the inverse square law to make that light fall off a lot slower to the other side. And we go from here. Let's do go back to this.
What do you need?
I'm going back to the screen share
Okay.
so they can actually see it blown up a little bit more. So we're going from this shot right here to this shot right here. So you can see, just looking down here at looking at my niece down here lower, when the light's up here, it's not only falling off faster this way, it's falling off faster this way, and you can see how much darker she is in the frame than her mother right here. Whereas over here, mother's still really good exposure, but what we're doing now is, because we've backed that light off, that light is falling off more evenly all over. So be it across here or be it down this direction right here, we're getting much more evenness over here. So that's just in a nutshell what backing the light up knew. We didn't change their position. I didn't change my camera position. You can see kind of where the trees and stuff are hitting on them is the exact same. And we were just able to back that light up and get a much more even illumination. Now, this is the shot, the final shot where I backed it up the last bit, but I also pulled it around just a touch. That is going to help open it up some. It's less Rembrandt-y on the light, but it still has, the distance still has everything to do with how even the illumination is from my brother up here all the way down to his youngest daughter down here. So, cool.
Hello.
What's up, Dell? How's it going, my
Del,
friend?
Perry.
Perry in San
Thomas.
Diego.
Yeah.
Thomas, or was it Thomas in San Diego? It's Thomas in San Diego. Perry's just hanging with us. What's up, Perry? So again, really, really simple concepts. Nothing too heavy. Really, at the end of the day, when it comes to groups, playing with the distance of your light is going to save you a lot. It's going to save you a lot of post work.
I mean, and that's just one light.
Yeah, and that's just one light.
That's great.
Again, you could bring in a second light and bring the fill up on one side, but maybe you are shooting a wedding and you don't have a second shooter or anything like that, and you don't have the ability to have your cameras and have a light. You need to just run with one. This is going to be something that's really important to remember. Don't be afraid to back the light up. Get a bigger modifier if you need to, but even if you can't use a big modifier, maybe you have to take it off, or maybe you even need more output, so you have something like a Magnum with you. You can still get really nice results by just slowing your shutter speed down a little bit, bring that ambient light up, and mix the two. And you're going to get fantastic results. So, that being said, I'm not going to keep beating this dead horse. It's a distance game. Play with your distances. Don't be afraid to take the modifier off for a hard light if you need to. Larger groups, center that light stand up if you need, again, if you only have one light, and back it up as much as you can. If you're worried about contrast, slow your shutter speed down and bring that ambient light up. Why did you go higher? I'm not really sure what you mean by why did I go higher.
With the light, did we go higher with the light?
I did raise the light up and down a couple of.
Do you mean as like not even with the subject, or?
So if we're talking about
like the sun.
Hang on one second. Let's bring up the thing. Ram, hit me up and explain to me what you mean by higher, but I'm gonna just try to assume that I know what you're saying. Why did I go higher with the light? Oh yeah, Caitlin's gonna make it larger. Cool. So I have a kind of a rule for myself with light modifiers, and that is that I don't like the light right here. I'm not talking about the top of the modifier, the bottom of the modifier, the dead center of the modifier where the light comes out. I don't like that to be at nose level. And my brother back here is the tallest person. So say I was to drop this light down here to kind of be middle here, what's going to happen is she's going to have light coming from above, and these three are going to have light coming from beneath. Oh, super zoom. So these three are going to actually have light coming up. It's going to be uplighting them in that shot. So again, I think it's a great rule. I think it's something that you should really pay attention to. Try to keep the center line above the nose. So that's why the light's up that high. Back here, the light height didn't change. You just can't see it because I've backed it out of the frame. This is the way that I would light the shot. Again, keeping me from having to do extra post work and making everything a little bit more even. But
and we also kept the light on the side that the sun
yeah.
well.
The lights.
This is a general rule.
Granted, it's a little contrasty, so you can't 100% see that.
Can we pull it back?
Yeah, you can pull it back. Okay. But the light is coming. There's a big opening, kind of right at the front where I'm standing and photographing, and the light is coming from the same direction as the flash. So I wanted to try to maintain that direction. And because one, that's going to match the rest of the light hitting the ambient. So whereas, if the light was coming kind of from the other direction with the ambient, but I was lighting from this direction, it's almost a cross light situation, and you're going to be able to tell the difference between. You're going to be able to tell that there's a flash. Granted, I shot it a little more contrasty, so you can already tell that there's a flash there. But if I can still do something to maintain the directionality of everything, that's why the light's over on that side. So tallest person has the light above nose line, always the middle of the light above nose line. That's why the height placement is where it is. And then it's backed up and coming from the same direction as the sun. So the light direction will match the ambient direction, if that helps.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, hopefully that was the answer to your question, but I really do appreciate you asking it. Again, just to kind of wrap it all up, if you just wanted to go to the end of the video and see what we have to say, when you're shooting groups, don't be afraid to back the light up. That's going to be your biggest thing. The closer that light is to your subject, the faster it's going to fall off on the other side. So if I have this light right here and Kate's being photographed with me, she's going to go darker faster than I'm going to go darker. So if you start to back that light up, the light's going to start to fall off slower from that direction, and then the exposure is going to become more even. So back the light up until you have the evenness that you're looking for across all your subjects. If you're getting into larger groups, I suggest bringing that light around as much as you can to the front, especially if you have to remove the modifier to shoot it with a hard light in order to, one, even have enough output to photograph that large group, or if you're trying to save your battery life, or if you just don't have a softbox that'll do the job. That means if you have to use a hard light, definitely try to get the light around to the front if you can, to mitigate shadows and to bring up that ambient light. Dell wants to know what modifier did we use. That's a 3-foot octa. It's actually this one. I put it up just so everyone can kind of see it. It's the OCF 3-foot. It's a great softbox. It's super lightweight, really, really affordable as far as softboxes go. I used this thing all the time before the new flip open one came out. But this little OCF 3-foot packs down really, really small. It's great. It's a great first softbox for a lot of people. We have a cool promotion on it right now, so check it out on prophoto.com or go check with your dealers. We have a really sweet promotion for it right now. It's not going to be around. We're doing this before. We're doing this for the holidays of 2024. So if it's past the holidays of 2024 and you're watching this video, the promotion's over with. So apologies, but there's a cool promotion going on with it in the B10. So if you're in the market for a light and a softbox, check that out. But 3-foot octa is great. Obviously, you can go with a bigger one if you want to. The 3-foot did everything that I needed it to, and a lot of that came from just backing it up. And it's still nice and soft here. Let's just one more time for the friends. Let's go in here and show you. So we'll zoom into. Let me do it. Yeah. Well, I just want to get rid of this image first, and then I'll let you. I'm going to zoom in here, and thenLl let you do your thing.
This is my station.
This normally. She's very upset that
my space.
She's very upset that I'm touching the mouse. She's not even remotely I'm going to go back to the mouse. Here we go. I'm going to be in a lot of trouble when this thing's over with. So even with the 3-foot octa, we're getting some nice soft light. There now, granted, it's backed up a little bit, so there is some the light is going to harden up a little bit, but there is still nice feathering around the edges. And so we're getting a nice soft image. So really cool stuff. Awesome.
Very good.
We appreciate, let's go back to me in my weird face. There we go.
Hello. There we go.
We're working through it.
I know, sorry.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. We're back. Cool. So with that being said, again, shooting groups is really, really easy. Pay attention to the distance of your light and you'll get great results. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of your week. We have something cool coming up next week for Geared Up, so please tune in for that. In the meantime, peace out, everybody.